These are my bags. Like, I'll show you guys my closet. Like, this is my closet. Like, that's all my clothes.
Life as an influencer is so hard nowadays, and I constantly feel like I have to keep leveling up, doing something else to impress you guys, and I've lost who I was.
I wish you guys knew how easy it is to fake being wealthy for the internet here in LA.
So I'm going through a transition of change, and I'm going to be getting rid of pretty much my entire handbag collection.
May Leung, a TikTok creator known for her luxury lifestyle, has just been exposed for faking her glamorous life. It turns out that the designer bags, exotic vacations, and high-end living were all fake. From fake Instagram posts to borrowed luxury bags, the truth behind the scenes is quite shocking, and it's not just May. There's a huge wake-up call about how many luxury influencers create fake lifestyles just for likes and followers. So what really happened? How did the truth come out, and what does it mean for influencer culture? Stick around because we're going to break it all down, and make sure you stay tuned to the end because we're also going to discuss Lydia Millen's recent luxury bag announcement. Recently I was scrolling through TikTok and I got a recommendation about a creator called May Leung, who I didn't know of before, but I've learned that essentially she was a luxury creator, a creator who shared lots of her luxury bags, her luxury lifestyle, did quite a lot of traveling, shared quite a lot of how much money she spent. You know, this is how much I've spent on my credit card, this is how much I've paid off on my credit card, all of those kind of things. She seems to be quite young as well, and so she was getting quite a lot of attention, as most of these kind of really over the top luxury creators tend to do in the beginning at least. And so it turns out, guys, that it's all fake. The abbreviated version of the very long story is that she was basically using her friend's lifestyle to pretend that it was hers. Her friend apparently is quite wealthy and she shares a home with this friend, and so it was allegedly quite easy for her to make posts borrowing the friend's bags and borrowing the friend's luxury items and pretending that it was hers.
She was considered one of the richest Asian influencers on TikTok until people did some digging and realized she's been faking everything. She's been stealing her rich friends' Instagram pics and passing them off as her own to fake the luxury life. Not to mention those designer bags, not hers, she films in her friend's closet and uses it to stage content.
I managed to catch on to this scandal when it was quite young. Actually, there were quite a few little rumblings that were kind of like, well, we don't really feel like this is real. There were a few TikTok creators who were making videos basically saying that it seemed a bit suspicious, like they weren't sure. It was so over the top.
How can she spend $85,000 in 1 month? 45,000 of it is out clubbing. I'm shook. How is that even possible?
And as I mentioned, she is quite young, so it's kind of like, well, okay, where are you getting all of this money from? And I think the story she was trying to sell was that she was born into wealth, so maybe her parents had loads of money. And it does turn out that her parents are business owners. They do own, as far as I understand it, a trampoline company, but they definitely aren't making as much money to fund the kind of lifestyle that she was sharing with her followers. What I found the most scandalous about this story is her use of her friend's Instagram post. And I'm not super on Instagram. I am on Instagram, so if you do want to follow me, you can, right, at Taja May, but I'm not on there like super often, because in the old days, right, let's say like early 2000s, my understanding of Instagram was kind of like, you know, you're just taking cute pictures, right? You're posting what's going on in your life. Maybe you go out, you take a picture of your outfit, you post it. But Instagram is almost like it's an industry in itself. People are having professional photo shoots to post on Instagram. People have like photographers, and, you know, it's all very business-like. And I think on YouTube, and even so on TikTok, sometimes it can be super obvious and transparent when somebody has a platform and maybe they're business owners too, so they make their videos but they also speak about what you can buy or what products they sell, and for the most part I actually don't mind it. But I feel like Instagram and Facebook almost lull you into a false sense of security, that you're kind of just looking through your mates' pictures, you know, you're looking through your friends' pictures, oh, you know, that looks cool, that looks nice, when in reality a lot of it is, like most social media for larger creators, more established creators or intentional creators, most of it is planned, right? So people post pictures to get a particular reaction out of you. So the fact that she was sharing her friends' pictures, I can see how consumers of her Instagram content could very easily just feel like it was her. I know you can't see the person's face, but I feel like you'd have to be so suspicious of everything you consume online to even come up with the story that that's not her and it's her friend. I think this is the reason why this particular scandal has got so much attention, because it's so over the top. It's so a bit like you can't even make it up. And at this point, I don't think it's super unusual to discover that an influencer has been lying about something online. You know, unfortunately, I think in a lot of spaces, it's almost expected that they may not be telling the entire truth. But the idea that someone can essentially pretend to live the life of someone else so effectively to the point that they have quite a large established following, and it's only because, you know, we have internet sleuths that it was found out, is actually really, really wild. Watching YouTube is like one of my favorite things to do, and so I consume content quite a lot. And I, even now in 2025, I still hear people talking about my community is my safe space, you know, I feel safe on the internet. Guys, if you are consuming any of this content, you need to understand that the internet is not safe. Okay, examples like this really push for me that you have to be suspicious of everything. Always consume all content, not even just social media content, like national media, news media. I'm not suggesting you lean into propaganda, but what I'm saying is to always take what you see online with a pinch of salt. Because when I'm creating content, especially more commentary style content, I always come across stats around how social media is affecting the mental health of their viewers, and how consumers of social media often feel this pressure to live to a certain standard as somebody who enjoys luxury and somebody who enjoys fashion, and I try to live the best way I can. It's almost like I get pulls at my heartstrings, because I definitely don't want to be contributing to this kind of toxic, I need to be a millionaire at 21. Guys, it's so unrealistic. I'm not saying it's impossible, but life definitely moves in phases. Yes, there are some people, very, very few people, by the way, probably like less than 1% of people who are born into wealth and have access to it, and there's probably even more of a small percentage of those people who choose to actually share it on social media. But for most of us, life moves through stages, and it's okay to be in a stage where you don't have loads of disposable income. For the most part, we were all there, including me, right? And it's really important that you focus on what's important at each stage. In my very early 20s, I was not spending thousands of pounds on handbags, guys. I don't want to give that impression either. There are loads of things that you should be focusing on, like becoming a homeowner, making sure that you have savings, making sure that all your bills are taken care of. All of those things are more important than non-essential spending. And for those of us who are online, to be authentic and to meet and connect with other people who are like-minded and who enjoy the same things, it can sometimes feel more complicated than you want it to be, because there are people like Maylee Young and other creators who are being inauthentic online. Ultimately, I think it really hurts us all, but money and views can be a driver. And also, guys, I know that there's always this narrative pushed about being on social media or being an entrepreneur and it being your only source of income. When I say only, I mean all your money is made online. So maybe you might have a YouTube channel, but you're also making money on Instagram and you're making money on TikTok. But I think sometimes, although it can work, right, I think sometimes the desire to have this so much can lead to desperation from some creators. And it's like, okay, I know I have to post every day, especially on a place like TikTok. I know I need to post every day. Maybe May does have a few luxury bags or does go on a holiday a few times a year to somewhere that's really, really nice. But she and many creators like her aren't living a life that allows her to post multiple times a day, daily, in the same vein of over-the-top luxury. And so in some ways, I think some creators fall down this rabbit hole of feeling like, okay, I have to lie then. I have to lie, I have to borrow, I have to fake, I have to do all of these things just to maintain the intensity. And guys, this is coming from somebody, you guys know, if you guys have been here from the beginning of my channel, you know that I was doing hauls, and I still enjoy doing hauls. And I think it was a different time then as well. I think clothing hauls were getting lots of attention, but having to post at a very high intensity, which is what's required in order to be successful on social media in general. I know there are outliers, but in general, you have to post at a high intensity. Luckily for me, I am an established woman with a career and a husband and disposable income, and you know, I have space to lean into areas that I want to be creative. So to me, doing a few hauls a few times a month doesn't affect the daily running of my life. But for some people, I'd argue probably for the majority of people, it's unsustainable to post over the top luxury content for years. It's just really difficult. And so, although I don't agree with people using super fakes or people borrowing their friends' stuff or creating AI pictures or doing all of this stuff, I can understand sometimes the thinking behind it. And I think as much as influencers talk about feeling connected to their community and loving their viewers, I think that this kind of social media relationship can be a bit strange, guys. And it's a fairly new phenomenon, right? I'm at home talking to my camera, right? And then I post online and loads of people who I've never seen, I may never meet, get to watch me and get to know about me. If they comment, I get to know about them. I definitely think it takes a certain level of maturity to understand that your actions can have an influence on the people on the other side of the camera. I think the reason why, for the most part, a lot of these influencers who are getting caught showing fakes or trying to pretend that all of this luxury stuff that they have is real, I think a lot of the reason why a lot of them tend to be younger is because I think for a lot of younger people, it's like, okay, I point the camera at my face, I upload a video, loads of people watch it, and I make loads of money. Okay, so the concept of, is this ethical? Am I telling the truth? What kind of impression am I giving people? What kind of pressures am I contributing to? I don't really think that they are really considering that. And I don't know if it's malicious, as in these creators wanting to harm you. I just think it's absent-mindedness. Like, I don't really care or not care, right? I'm online, I want to be popular, I want to make money, and so if I have to just, you know, grab my friend's bag and be like, look at the new bag I got, then I'll do it. So for that reason, although I am a creator myself, I am also a consumer of content, and I do my best to just take everything with a pinch of salt, right? You never know. On TikTok, they have people talking about, especially in places like LA, they've got content houses where you can go and you can, you know, film yourself for the whole day and then leave. You can pay, I don't know, a few £100, go there 3 times a week, maybe 3 times a month, film a month's worth of content and put it up. And then people think that, you know, you live there.
So up the street from here, we have this $100 million mansion that costs $90 an hour to rent out. A lot of creators rent that space once a week, film their content, and make it look like they live there.
There are some creators who are admitting it. I think we're definitely moving into a more of a time where some influencers are just like, you know what, I'm just going to tell the truth.
I've been living a lie, the biggest lie on social media for a while, I think. That car is not mine. Anyone who believed that I've got £500,000 and I bought that outright, I didn't even finance it. It was rented, 6,080 a day.
It's hard work. It can be hard work to keep up, which I'm hoping scandals like this one work to more effectively set the expectations or align the perceptions of viewers more than they have been before. Because I think before, we'd consume social media content and just be like, wow, look at the life, right? Look at the life of these people. Look at what they're doing. Look at how they're living. And I think for some of those people, it was true, but definitely it's becoming out more and more that for a lot of those, they were being fake. And so I recently spoke about Lydia Millen and her decision to share that she was selling her Hermes bags and why I thought she might be doing that The short story was that I concluded that she was having a brand shift. I think by just looking at her channel, you can kind of see that she's moving away from more luxury content. I think she's even maybe moving away from fashion content too. Like, she seemed to do quite a lot of fashion related content, and I can still see that in some of her more recent content, but it seems to be definitely more focused on homemaking, homesteading. So I think that she is doing a brand shift. If you wanted to know more about my reasons why, then you can check out this video here. But she recently came out with a bag that she's releasing. She announced an upcoming collaboration with British luxury brand Fairfax and Favour, introducing a new handbag designed to blend timeless elegance with everyday practicality. In a recent video, she shared her excitement about working directly with the brand's designers who have experience with renowned labels to create a bag that reflects her personal style and meets her functional needs. Fairfax and Favour is known for its commitment to quality and customer satisfaction, making this collaboration particularly exciting for fans of both Millen and the brand. The upcoming handbag is expected to be a versatile addition to any wardrobe, combining style with functionality. So in her video, she shares this bag. This bag is very cute, guys. Very cute bag. Yeah, very Hermes-esque though. Okay, so she shares a few different ways that she can style the bag. When I initially had this conversation, I did get a few comments that were like, she's selling all her bags because she's going to release her own. And I don't generally follow Lydia's content, so I don't know if it's that she announced before she had sold all her bags that she was thinking about releasing her own. But I think that this is like marketing 101, guys. Whether you agree with the reasons Lydia gave for selling her bags or not, I would be super unsurprised if Lydia had a few Hermes bags that she kept, okay? Because who wouldn't? However, if we go based on what she's saying, that she's going to get rid of all of them, this segue of I'm going to get rid of all of my expensive bags into, guys, by the way, if you were also thinking about doing this kind of shift from very expensive down to not super affordable, but more affordable, you know, more contemporary. If you were also making that shift like me, right? I have something that you might like. Actually, I'm not mad at it, guys. Okay, I think that this collaboration that she's having to release this bag naturally wouldn't have been a collaboration that's a recent idea, right? In order to have a meeting of minds, create a bag, agree on a launch time, right? Have a prototype that you can share. This is going to take like years for some people, right? So it's not going to be over like a series of days or weeks. This is going to take years to do. And so I've got this feeling now, I need to sell all of my bags. She did share that she had been feeling that way for a while, and maybe more avid viewers of hers, that might be true. I don't know if she shared that for a while, but even if she has had this feeling for a number of years, this feeling had to have crossed paths with her knowing that she was going to release her own bag. I personally don't mind the technique. I think it's worked. I think you need people's eyes in order to be effective. And it may just be that the brand saw that she was maybe moving to more contemporary brands and felt like it was a fair opportunity for them to approach her, or for her to approach them about a collaboration. But I think a lot of the critique that I've seen her get has to do around it feeling disingenuous and inauthentic. And I think part of the reason why it might feel that way, I of course do not know all of what has happened and what's happened behind the scenes and all of that kind of stuff, or whether she's telling the truth or not, but I think the reason why it feels that way is because of the super effective marketing. I cannot remember who I heard it from, but I heard a creator say that attention is currency, and I think that Lydia has done a very good job here of getting the attention. You know, you've got the attention, I'm selling all my stuff, guys, and then whilst you've got the attention, saying, by the way guys, if you'd like this really cute, the bag's cute. I'm not mad, but I wanted to give an update of how things were going, because I really felt as though she was just selling the bags because she wanted to make content about other things, and I still think that's the case. But the bag selling announcement was actually a curveball I was not expecting. Okay, I know a few of you had mentioned it, but I was kind of like, okay. So when I saw it, I was like, oh wow, you guys were right. You guys are so smart. You guys get it, right? And I think getting it is even more important than whether you like it or not, because if you understand what you're being given, then you can adjust accordingly, right? You can decide if you want to watch, you can decide if you want to engage, you can decide if you want to buy the cute bag, but it's an informed decision instead of one that is less informed. Have you guys heard about the Mainly Young drama? What do you think? Also, what do you think about the slight heel turn by Lydia? What do you think about it all? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.